being a band that has had albums where we've crossed formats from whether it's mainstream rock, active rock, alternative, into hot AC, adult contemporary, into top 40 markets and more mainstream. We wrote these songs and we create these records and we do these shows because we want anyone from anywhere at any time is welcome.
Brent, where are you at?
I just arrived to South Carolina. Me and Eric are getting ready to start kind of reviewing some of the material that we had that did not make the new record Planet Zero. And just, we got so many things going on right now, but we had this little bit of time carved out to kind of look at some of the files of the other material that we didn't release. So basically working on new material.
It never stops, right? It just keeps on going.
No.
Wow. How have you been personally since? I know you've been busy with the album. Last time we talked, the album was just about to be released. You had the film come out then. How's everything in life in general? Everything with you, your son?
Everything's good, man. Like, again, there is a tremendous amount that we were able to accomplish last year, especially in the touring front. And, we just released Dead Don't Die this year. We've got another single that's getting ready to be released to top 40 and hot AC radio. So crossing different formats with a song called A Symptom of Being Human, which is a big undertaking right now. And then a brand new tour starting April 3rd through May 9th with From Ashes to New and 3 Days Grace, and putting stuff together already for the end of the physical year. Towards the back half of the year, we're working on something big in regards to international that unfortunately I can't talk about.
Okay.
It never stops.
Man, it's good to being busy, people are taking it in. Since our last interview, man, I'm telling you, I had such great response on, people were just so glad that I spoke to you. And, it's crazy to see, like, I read the comments, I like almost 100 comments from people, and just like how they're loving the new album, and these are fans that have been there with you guys from the beginning. It's just cool hearing so many different perspectives about how you guys impacted people and gotten them through tough times, and how the new album's affecting them. It's amazing power that you guys have, man. And it's just cool for me to even get a little slice of it, just to hear from people, how they've been impacted by the current album and about you guys. It's amazing, man.
Well, listen, man, I appreciate the fact that you've been so gracious to us in regards to support and the love you've shown us and just the promotion that you've given us and getting us out there, man. So I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, and you've been an awesome champion for us, man. So thank you. It never goes unappreciated. It's very, very appreciated.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Any little tidbit I can contribute, I'm a lifelong fan. You guys were actually the first concert I've ever seen ever in person of any performers.
Of any genre.
Any genre. Yep. It was the first.
So when was the first show?
It was the House of Blues in Chicago. I believe it was 2006.
Okay.
It was right around, you know what? It was actually when WrestleMania was in Chicago, and it was right around that time.
That's when I met. That's when we met. I got to meet John Cena that night.
Oh, really?
I remember.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this is like 2006. So,
yeah,
by the way, that House of Blues top 3. So Chicago, Orlando, and New Orleans. But I love that House of Blues in Chicago.
It's a great venue. I just had someone recently comment in the last couple of days, like, oh yeah, I've seen Shinedown and House of Blues. They were saying they met you, how great of an experience they had. And someone's like, I've been to like 16 shows around the country, but that venue seems to attract a lot of people, or at least they're, that they've seemed to come, you guys play there. So yeah, it's a popular venue for sure out here. But certainly it's one that people also kind of.
Are you in Chicago?
Yeah, I'm in Chicago.
So 06, when you saw us, that would have probably been, I guess that would have been Us and Them. It would have been the second album.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So that's yeah, man, you're old school. I'm
Oh
into
yeah,
it.
no, that was I'm definitely old school. I'm there from the beginning. That was just my first concert. I remember, as a teenager, basically going to, and it was super cool. And then just like,
It's crazy to think that May 27th of this year will be the 20-year anniversary of the debut album Leave a Whisper. I'm still
I
trying to
know
process that.
it's insane, and time flies too, right? I
It
mean,
does.
it's crazy, and you guys are still making music and reinventing things. It's awesome too, to see how things have been moving, and it's like I said, totally different, even fan bases, and well, a lot of people stayed, but there's people my age who were going to those concerts back then that have kids now. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
listening in, so it's like a new generation has formed since then.
Yeah, the good thing about that though, with us and our fan base from an international standpoint too, and from a global reach, I
Mhm.
mean, our audience, whether they've been there from day one or they're just kind of finding out who we are over the years, specifically the ones that have been there from day one, we've been very fortunate that our audience has always allowed us to evolve. We try to not make the same records over and over again, and we try not to write the same song twice.
Mhm.
And part of that is having that freedom from an audience that will allow you to grow as a songwriter and as a musician. Like they don't want to have, a record sound like the last one. They encourage you to grow. They encourage you to try new things. So a lot of respect to them for allowing us to just be ourselves.
No question. It's so interesting because you mentioned "Dead Don't Die." That's the current kind of most recent single you guys released, and then I was able to fortunately get a preview of a symptom of being human, and it's two completely different songs. Like the
Yeah.
"Dead Don't Die" is just got so much energy. It's like it's really and it's an intense feel to it, and the video is
Yeah.
great too, and a symptom of being human is a lot more subdued and powerful in a different way.
Yeah.
I'm curious. It's interesting how they're positioned almost the back-to-back singles, very two different songs. You know what I mean? And but both hit you in a certain way.
Two different songs, but also this is the thing that's unique about this.
Mm-hmm.
I am such a fan of where music is finally starting to go and evolve. The unique thing is, I have a 15-year-old son, so he's Generation Z. And the interesting thing about Generation Z is that they're not concerned with a born on date when it comes to music. Like they don't care when something came out. It could have came out in 1985 or 1975. I mean, you can look at the success with Stranger Things with Kate Bush and Metallica with Master of Puppets and
Yep.
all of these evolutions. You go back to kind of like the very beginning in regards to now what's more of a TikTok generation. But when the gentleman riding his skateboard with ocean spray, the cranberry juice, and he was using Fleetwood Mac, and people were just like, "This is amazing!" And there's this resurgency. And what I'm talking about is the fact that you're starting to see, and also too, one of the things we were able to do last year was in the beginning of 2022 when we were talking to people about what we were going to do in the fall of that year, and we were going to bring out a young man by the name of Jelly Roll, there were people that were kind of going, "What do you mean? Like, who is this?"
Mhm.
And I knew the trajectory that he was going to be on, and then also bringing in a newcomer, John Harvey. There was a lot of like, we've never heard of these people before, and you're going to take them on tour, and it's like, yeah, because there's something to it and they're doing something different. And now you see with the influx of how these genres are blending together, and you're
Yep.
seeing more of it being genre less. We've never been a band under any circumstances that want to be put into a box. So is it, when people will ask sometimes, I mean, look at the success of what's going on right now with Hardy and the merging of rock and country. You
Totally.
know, the thing is we've been from get go and from Jump Street, really, being a band that has had albums where we've crossed formats from whether it's mainstream rock, active rock, alternative, into hot AC, adult contemporary, into top 40 markets and more mainstream. We wrote these songs and we create these records and we do these shows because we want anyone from anywhere at any time is welcome. to know what we're about and who we are. And it's not about being put into a box. And I know for a while back in the day, it was, our record label, Atlantic, sometimes there would be people that would come to them, and we're an anomaly in a lot of ways. We've been with Atlantic Records for 2 decades
Yeah.
now, and we're continuing to work with them, and we're working with Elektra Records now as well. But the thing about our label and our management, Indigoot and everybody, Bill McGathy, who's been the manager from the beginning, they have always supported us in regards to when people would ask, like, well, what are they? Are they a rock band? Are they a pop band? Are they a alternative leaning band? Are they a metal band? What are they? And they've always proudly said they're Shinedown. They don't really want to be put in a box, nor should they be. So it's an exciting time to start seeing music moving forward, and it really being broad, and people not being so clicky with certain things, and like, well, if you like this, you can't like that. And if you do this style, well, this would never work if you blended this together. Who says? Like, it's a good thing to be creative and to expand. And once again, just being able to evolve is something that we take very seriously.
I mean, how do you feel even about like some songs are being remade now? It seems like, I don't know, it's always been a thing in music, I guess, but now they're being popularized again. Like Baby Rexha, the blue song, you know what I mean? It's sort of changed it up a bit, but it's popping again and it's back up, How do you feel about sort of kind of bringing back the past and putting a new twist on it?
Once again, I go back to, Generation Z, the new generation, where they look at it as, if it's awesome, they're into it. It doesn't matter when it came out. Just because it's not coming out, or it doesn't have an expiration date that's 2023.
Right.
That's about music. There is no such thing as an expiration date. You know what I mean? Like, it's timeless. It literally is timeless. That's what makes it, that's what makes it so amazing. I mean, recently, I think the new series, The Last of Us, Linda Ronstadt, they do 4,900% increase in streamings in 24 hours on her Spotify. All these people that didn't know who she was before, that's awesome. The fact that that can happen now, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's an interesting, time where music can be consumed in so many different ways. You guys kind of like around the 2000 stuff. Remember when kind of like Napster was the thing, like kind of, it was like a thing, it went from CDs kind of like, then for the first time ever, it went to kind of a computer sense, without actual physical copies of things. And that kind of started a thing that later, turned into iTunes and Spotify. It's just the evolution over the last 20 years that you guys seen, been through physically. Started probably with CDs and heck, cassettes maybe at some point, early on. But
Planet Zero, this is something that you will get a kick out of, because I got a kick out of it. Of all 7 records that we've released, only 1 album has been released on cassette, and it's Planet Zero.
No way, really?
Yeah. And that's another thing too. Like, we're still, I mean, if you're looking at it from a fundamental, like a mechanical, and not using intense lingo here, but like physical copies, like vinyl, for instance. Like, our first week of Planet Zero, the album, we were #1 on 6 Billboard charts. One of them being, we had the #1 record on vinyl. We had an order of 180,000 units, and it's why we actually had to push the street date from April 22nd of 2022 to July 1st, because we needed to make sure we could meet the order for the vinyl. Vinyl has had a massive resurgency in the last 10 years. Because I think vinyl is looked at more now too as like an art piece. And there's a whole thing about, it is about the experience of opening up the record, taking the liner notes out and seeing the artwork inside, looking at all of the personnel that made the record and what have you, and actually taking the record, putting it, you can only play it on a record player.
Yes.
And I see young people really getting into that as well. But that's a very unique thing. inside of all of it as well. And yeah, man, it was pretty cool to say that we, our only record that we've released thus far on cassette was Planet Zero.
That's awesome. Who would have ever thought? You know what I mean? Especially with the timelines of the first record, could have been close enough to a cassette or certainly CD, but the last one, I'm telling you, people love things retro. Things old things are cool again. So watch, we're going to be maybe at a point again where CDs are cool, and maybe cassettes will be, back in sort of thing as like a retro cool thing that, people will kind of collect in a sense and make it popular.
Yeah. Absolutely. Certain international markets there's still a market for CDs in other countries.
I can
Especially
imagine.
over in the UK and Europe, it's still there's still an abundance of CDs. We still make them, It
It's
just
cool.
depends.
It's something cool about something physical. I mean, even a book, like everyone can have a Kindle and read it, but that physical book holding it in your hand and turning the
Yeah.
pages, it gives you some sort of kind of nostalgia for many. And it just like, there's a different experience with it.
Yeah, we did basically like a program that you can go to shinedown.com and get all of this stuff. We have these box sets that have like merchandise in them and like very interesting things like the cassette, CD. But we also did like a program book where we had the lyrics that were handwritten inside and a bunch of when we went out to Joshua Tree to do the video for Planet Zero, and then we did a bunch of photos out there as well. So there's a lot of like behind the scenes things that you can get in this book. It's pretty cool, actually.
That's awesome. I need to give a shout out to wherever you guys do those music videos. They're so interesting. The locations are super cool, and just the music videos are just really rocking. Like they look great. For especially a Symptom of Being Human. I got to send flowers to the girl who was in a video. Her facials were great. She was fantastic.
Dude.
I thought she was awesome. I think she deserves a lot of credit here for really making that video even more come alive, in that sense
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Kit, I think was her name. That was an interesting day because there was the people that worked on A Symptom of Being Human, the director, Lewis Cater, did both videos. He did Dead Don't Die and he did Symptom.
Nice.
So there were two totally different looks. Like Dead Don't Die was very action movie.
Had a drone even in it, right? A drone
Yeah,
comes out at
man,
the end.
like 1,000%. And also too, with Dead Don't Die, it was more of like, I remember when our initial conversation, myself and Lewis, I just told him straight up. I said, I want kind of an homage to action movie, but I said, think Matrix, think like John Wick,
I
and
can
that's
see
kind
that.
of exactly what we did. And then Symptom, there's a lot more of a deep dive going on there, but the cast of people that were involved in that shoot, what Lewis did, which actually I think was really smart, he did all of the acting shots and all of the location shots with the actors and the actresses ahead of time. He did all that a day before, and then he brought us in the back half of the evening on the second day, and then that's when we did our shots. And then obviously we had the dancers come in and the people that were doing the circular, that were circling us and things of that nature, tying everything in. They came in the back half, but he kind of wanted to make sure that all the actors and the actresses stayed in character, so that we didn't kind of come in. They knew what was going on. They knew like what the band shots would be and all that. Like they were explained. But I think that was actually smart because he kept everybody in a heightened state of emotion, and you can see it in the video. I mean,
Totally.
all those actresses and those actors that came in, and they were moved by the song too, which helped out a lot.
It's a great song. I feel like the message of kind of communicating with each other, right? I that's what I kind of got of that song. It's just like, when she's kind of falling and people kind of help her up, it's that sort of thing about having people to lean on and not abandon you. That's where I sort of kind of took away from that in a way.
It's also understanding that everybody is an individual,
Yep,
and
exactly.
I take some of it from Stephen King and The Shawshank Redemption, where it's the ideology of get busy living or get busy dying. Like it's okay to embrace the fact that you are a human being. We're
Totally.
all
With flaws and everything.
absolutely, and it's also an individual inside of this song is at a place in their existence where they're also realizing that they're not alone, that these feelings that they have, this anxiety that they have, these moments in their life where they're trying to find out who they are. I mean, I've said it before, we're all a work in progress,
Totally.
but even in that first line of the chorus, it says, sometimes I'm in a room where I don't belong, and the house is on fire and there's no alarm and the walls are melting too. How about you? The house is your mind. You know what I mean? It's like what you have to deal with and what the world presents to you on a daily basis, but we're all going through it. And I don't want to give too much away in the video,
Yeah.
but everybody has their own book, if you know what I mean. And it's being written as each day you've been given a gift of being alive, because you're not promised tomorrow. And you got to live your life, and you should live it out loud, and it's okay to understand that not every day will be perfect. That's part of the journey, man. That's part of being human.
Yeah, and it's like, and redemption too, and
Yeah.
kind of accepting people for mistakes. I think one thing about today's day and age is like we sometimes dispose people too quickly, and not allow sort of mistakes to be learned and lessons to be taken away and to better yourself. I feel like that's one thing sort of we need to be more open-minded about in today's world.
Yeah, because people that might have done something 10 years ago or 5 years ago,
Yeah.
that were in a different place in their life. And if they made a mistake, but they own up to it, it doesn't need to be, one-sided. We all go through different stages in our lives, but the honesty is a big part of that and who we are as individuals. And the only way that we can move forward and we can grow as individuals is, you have to look at the fact that sometimes in your life, you're not going to make the right decision. You're going to make some
Right.
mistakes.
It's just
And
part of the human existence. There's
you
no
have to
such thing
be
as a
able,
perfect human. It just doesn't exist.
but you got to be allowed to be able to grow, and if it's a double standard, it doesn't work,
Yeah, because
you
it
know.
prevents that growth, Brent. If you want redemption and you're not being allowed in a sort, it puts you back
Right.
in a negative place. You know what I mean, or back down where you were. So
Especially if the individual did something and they were foolish at that time, but they own it and they
right,
say, I made a mistake. I was young and I wasn't thinking at what, depending on the subject matter. But if society won't allow that person to grow, and especially if that person is trying to better themselves
yeah.
and they're owning up to it, we have to be able to forgive people and be able to move forward. Doesn't necessarily mean that you forget, but none of us are perfect.
No, it's not that it wouldn't be a good world, I think, if everyone would be perfect because it wouldn't be authentic in that way. So we are meant as human beings to be flawed and and kind of grow. I mean, there's no point in life, I think, that you've like figured it all out or grown fully. Like you're still growing at like age 50, 60, you're still learning something new every day. And you're never fully developed. Like once you think you're fully developed, you probably got issues to work on then.
Absolutely, and I think we touched on it also the
Mhm.
last time we spoke. Um, a lot about what this album Planet Zero is about too is understanding that, in my personal opinion, as far as our species and who we are, I'm that individual that truly does believe that I feel that as human beings, we're inherently good. Like we want to take care of each other. We want to see each other succeed.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's going to be ups and downs, but I think ultimately we do want to support each other and we do want to take care of each other and we do want to see each other succeed.
No question. I mean, even, look at your life. You've grown so much and changed your life around too. You have a great story. I mean, it actually impacted me when we spoke about the weight thing. I took that to heart, that conversation we had, and I've been kind of on a, more healthier journey too. I've lost like 10 pounds since the last we
That's
spoke.
awesome.
Yeah. And it's cool to just kind of have that motivation of seeing you kind of do that and speak about it and how it changed your life. So just
Hey man, I'll tell you right now, my stress reliever is my church. My anchor is the gym. Like, cardio is the best way for me personally to get rid of stress.
totally. And
Like
it's just finding a way in it. Like I joined a soccer league and a basketball league. Now I play 2 nights a week on Wednesdays
that's
and
awesome.
so I hate, not everyone loves running or doing a treadmill, but when you're like doing a sport or something, you kind of forget about it and you're getting that cardio in.
Yeah.
And I feel like
I'm not a fan, dude. I'm with you
yeah,
on that. I am not a treadmill long distance guy. That is boring.
I'm telling
So
you,
I'm
whoever
with you,
says they
man.
love running is lying because that's no one actually like loves it, in that sense.
I think that it's endorphins though. No matter what,
Yep,
like whatever you're into, it's that it's something that you can do yourself to actually you just feel better.
totally.
I mean, 30 minutes of cardio a day, and it just helps get oxygen to your brain, and your heart's pumping, and you're getting all that to it's all connected. It kind
Yeah.
of clears your head and focuses you in. It's just really important to be physical and be active.
Totally. And you can always carve out a half an hour, even 15 minutes for some sort of, at home even or whatnot to do something.
Yep.
I feel like I have more stamina now, no kidding, than I'm 37, right? And than I did when I'm 27. And no joke, like I feel now the more active I've been, I'm like, oh wow, I would gas out after 5 minutes in the past, or
Well, the
whatnot.
fact
Now I
that
can go.
Yeah, the fact that you just said that you're 37, you look 27. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it.
I get that. Yeah. Good genes, I guess. But
Hey, man.
also I don't smoke, I don't drink really. I keep a kind of aside from food choices, cutting down on sugar a lot more now too. But yeah, I've lived a sort of a clean lifestyle. So that probably helps, looking younger, I guess.
1,000%, man. Your body is your temple.
Totally. And what you put into it is what you get. That's so true.
100%.
Yeah, so it's been inspiring. I'm glad that you kind of had that message and it's worked for you. And it's when you see people kind of transform and actually work, you believe it more because then there's that added motivation to do this, because you see the results in that way.
Yeah, and ultimately, when you're starting off, you start on a Monday. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be doing an Ironman on the
Right,
Sunday.
exactly.
But that's part of the journey. If it was easy, you wouldn't respect it as much. But when you make it a part of your lifestyle and you adopt it into your lifestyle, you'll be better for it, man.
And it gives you a sense of accomplishment. It makes you feel better at the end of the day, like, oh, I did something positive with my life, even though, there's different depressions and different things that happen on a daily basis in life that can bring you down. But like, that's one thing you can make yourself feel good about yourself at the end of the day, because like, oh, at least I'm working on myself. I did something for my health. And
Yep.
I was at the doctor just for a checkup recently, and like my cholesterol went down, blood sugar level, everything. Like the vitals are so much better. Like my blood pressure before was like consistent, like 130 over, like 80 something, and now it's like perfect 120 over 80, so it's like it's very, you can change things, you can change your health actually by making a commitment, as long as you're taking these steps, it can drastically make a difference. And it totally has with me. I've seen the results of it and like the statistics on it even, with my numbers.
Yeah, man, it's so interesting. It's why the universe is real. I literally was just I posted about this the other day because I was in Nashville at Vanderbilt. I hadn't had a physical in 3 years, just
Mm-hmm.
with everything going on with touring and COVID and
Sure.
then just everything that was happening. And I finally was able to get in. And I was very lucky. I knock on wood. I mean, I put the work in, but they were like, your numbers look great. Everything's solid. Just keep doing what you're doing. So it's really important. I made a post about just get a physical, man, and woman. Like
Yep.
a yearly physical is something that gets overlooked a lot of times. And if you have the means to yearly get a physical, it's called preventative medicine. And it's
Totally.
something that's very important.
No doubt about it. I've learned that too. I mean, I recently had to do a colonoscopy because my mom had a colon cancer out of nowhere in the past year or so, and they're rescheduling me to just double check myself, and even though I'm a younger age for that, but it's like these sort of preventative measures help you avoid major issues and, staying healthy and all that. It's important. Yeah. Get a yearly exam. My doctor's like, your schedule, you're due, you got to come in. I'm like, yes, I will, because like you forget and life just happens, but making a little bit of time, a couple hours a day to not only work out, but like, make that annual checkup, it makes a difference for sure.
Got it.
Hey, man, I'm so happy to see you doing well. The
Right
albums,
back at you, man. You look fantastic. Seriously, man.
I
It's so good to
appreciate that.
see you.
And my love life is not helping. I'm single forever, seems like. So
When
struggling
you
to get a
least
date.
expect it, when you least expect it, they will arrive. I
That's what they
promise you.
say, Brent. So I guess it's true. It's just like when you're not focusing, we're kind of busy doing everything else. Hopefully that's when it will happen.
100%. Man, it was
Hey,
awesome to talk to you today. Thank you so much for just everything that you do. And we got to get, me and you, man, we got to find a show. We got to find some time to actually hang, man. Come out to
I
a show, man.
know,
We got you
man.
covered.
If you guys are coming through Chicago or maybe LA, I'll be going out there. I mean, definitely. Or I'll just like find a way to find you in a city nearby to
Hey,
see
man,
you.
just whenever you want to come out, you let us know, man. I got you carte blanche.
Oh man, I appreciate that. Brent, keep up the awesome work. Planet Zero, I'm telling you, I love the album and these singles
Thank
are
you.
coming out are powerful and just tremendous. And like I said, we're hearing from the people and the people are loving it. And that's the most important thing. People are getting inspired by it. So this is what you do, why you do it.
I appreciate you, but we don't do it alone, man. It's people like yourself that have been there for us from Jump Street. So we appreciate you.
Hey, whatever little thing I can do to help, I'll definitely do it. So, you guys are my favorite. I always say my favorite musical performers and band, Shinedown, number one always. So it will be that way.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you
Uh,
so much for everything.
you got it, Brent. Let's do this again soon, and hopefully in person. Even that'd be even better.
Absolutely. Anytime. I'll see you in the future.
All right, take care, buddy.
Later.